Energy Policy Committee will please come to order, and the clerk will call the roll to establish whether or not we have a quorum.
Chairman Patterson.
Here.
Senator Brown.
Here.
Senator Burkholz. Here. Senator Kuipers. Senator Richardville.
Here.
Senator Olshovi. Senator Thomas. Senator Clark. You have a quorum.
We do have a quorum, but we've got a couple of members missing, so I'm going to hold off on entertaining a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting and proceed directly to a presentation. Senator Richardville, would you be kind enough to introduce the gentleman?
Yes, I would. He's going to introduce his topic by himself, but this is David Lunicki, and he's with Ecosphere Energy. They're working with a group out of Monroe County and some other places, and it's quite an interesting science, something that's been taking off around the country and, in fact, around the world. In fact, David just came in from Peru, where my understanding is their equivalent of the MEDC helped to put up a fair amount of investment for your company to expand into Peru, and we're hoping that we have similar kinds of thoughts about Michigan. So, David, why don't you introduce yourself and get started with the presentation, okay?
Thank you, Senator Richardville and committee members. My name is Dave Lunicki. I'm an environmental engineer and working with a company called Ecosphere Energy. We have a local partner in SunCrest Energy, and we have been working over the last 18 months to put together the pieces for a project and funding in Monroe County, Erie Township in particular.
Before you go any further, you came in from New Smyrna Beach, Florida?
That's where the office is. I actually flew in from Lima, Peru last night.
Okay.
But,
so how do you like the weather?
Grew up in Grand Rapids, so I had some expectation, but you forget how cold can be.
Well, welcome back. Please proceed.
Ecosphere Energy is a clean energy project development company. Ecosphere Energy combines or integrates compatible technologies to develop commercially financed projects as opposed to venture financed projects. The partnership we have in Lima calls for the government of Lima or the government of Peru to put up $31 million for about a $350 million project there, about 10%. We've partnered with SunCrest Energy in Michigan to develop the renewable energy project. We have also secured a firm commercial funding commitment to build the plant in Monroe County for $500 million. Michigan is one of 3 plants we have received firm funding commitments on, and we're moving forward with those. What we're looking at when I talk about integrating technologies is the fact that we have feedstock segregation and packaging. In the case of Michigan, we would extract the carbon feedstock from the waste stream, package that for delivery to our plant. Carbon gasification, where we take the carbon, we break it down to gases. The gases are then separated into part of the gas stream is a natural gas substitute that would turn a traditional turbine to make electricity. The other portion of the gas would be separated from the stack gas, and it's primarily carbon monoxide, and that'll be used to make ethanol.
Before you go any further, you used the word feedstock.
Yes.
Would you like to put a finer point on what the feedstock is?
The reason I'm using the word feedstock is we will go to people who have access to carbon, such as waste haulers, people in the existing waste industry, and we'll offer a new market for them to get rid of the carbon they have prior to landfilling it. It will qualify technically as a feedstock, no different than mixed waste paper or any other, recycled feedstock, because we will give them a specification that they will meet as they extract it from the waste stream. So we learned a long time ago you don't tear down the house to rebuild it, you work with those that live in it. So this is
just one of those things that strikes me, because I remember a few years ago being in Senator Burkholz's committee, Natural Resource and Environmental Affairs, and I have a lot of landfills in my Senate district, and I made the observation that it was entirely possible that those landfills would end up being treasure troves for fuels for energy production. And there were people that kind of laughed and guffawed at the notion. So none of them are here today. But.
Well, this technology will change and eventually make that the case. It really will. The feedstock segregation and packaging technology is currently in use in Europe and a few places in the United States. The carbon is segregated, baled, and shrink wrapped, so we really basically build with the world's largest pellet stove, if you will. In addition, this is a technology on a previous project a few years ago that we used to gain FDA approval for taking waste from Hawaii into landfills in the state of Washington and Oregon. Is a safe way to move waste about also without the segregation. The gasification is in the absence of outside air. You heat the carbon up to over 2,000 degrees, and you're going to generate gas. That gas is, I said earlier, is a combination of volatiles that can be used to turn as a substitute for natural gas to turn a traditional steam or gas and steam turbine, as well as carbon monoxide, which becomes feedstock for the ethanol technology. Again, the syngas is used to make electricity in a traditional, traditional natural gas-fired power plant. We're proposing to take about 85 megawatts to grid with this plant. The CO2 separation from turbine stack and exhaust gases becomes important because the next technology after this is the ability to crack carbon dioxide into carbon monoxide and further feed the ethanol process. And so whether it's this plant here or a coal-fired plant or natural gas plant or even the CO2 out of the back of an ethanol plant, that becomes feedstock for the ethanol process. The CO2 reformation project is it's a commercial technology right now, but until you took the CO, until you could make the CO into ethanol, it's languished because there hasn't been a market for what the technology could do. But we have, amongst the other technology access agreements, we have an exclusive global license for this technology. Conversion of CO into ethanol, there are a number of companies that are out there doing it. The company that was first, the person that first opened the door and started leading this forward was Dr. James Gaddy, the retired head of chemical engineering at the University of Arkansas. Last July, he sold his technology to INEOS, the third largest chemical company in the world, and with that it became, for the most part, commercial because of their financial strength or bankable. And we have 22 licenses with that technology, one of which we will use for this plant. One of the important project elements is we've been having discussions with the Meyer Corporation to put together a program that would make them one of the first major retail chains in literally the world to be zero waste, where we would take the carbon, bale it and wrap it right out of the back of their stores and have it delivered to our plant. They're also interested in taking our ethanol through their E85 stations as well as buying the green energy that we're going to produce.